the general perception
Hmm.
of many individuals is that Databricks is complicated.
Hmm.
Complicated to manage, complicated to get started with. What would you say to that?
I think there's fairness to the statement and there's also unfairness to the statement. Okay. So let me go ahead and start with the fair part. Okay. Which is some people, they're going to go ahead, understandably state that when working with Databricks, you have to know all these things about security, all these things about configurations, all these things set up. And the root of it is because we started with Apache Spark and we try to make that simple. But the people who were initially working on it actually understood how Spark worked, so they actually agreed with our simplification, right? We've grown a lot though since then, right? We're way beyond just doing Apache Spark. We're doing lots of machine learning. We're doing lots of GenAI. We're doing lots of governance, Unity Catalog, all these other things. And so why I feel that it's also in some cases unfair is because we're an entire operating system now, as much as, I want to say data and AI OS, right? Because of we cover the whole gambit, we're busy working on making things simpler. So sometimes people are missing the new feature that makes things simpler because they're still stuck. Oh, no, sorry, I should not say stuck. They're still utilizing a system from 2 years ago. And to be fair to them, it's only 2 years. You're making people change again, again, again. That's actually unfair, right? So there's fairness and unfairness to the statement. We are constantly working with our customers and the Databricks community in general to improve things. And as you can tell, we go very fast. Sometimes people are going to be a little ticked off at us because we're going a little too fast. That's fair. Yeah, at the same time, why are we going fast? We're trying to make things simpler.
Yeah, oh, that's good. That's good. And I would say one of those areas too is with compute. Like you
Yes.
had, I mean, it was only what, like 3 years ago that SQL Serverless was introduced, maybe a little bit less. And now it's like, oh wait, but never mind. Now we're gonna have serverless, and we're not even gonna call it anything else serverless. Now we have SQL Serverless and serverless. Not confusing at all.
No, 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 not at all. Not at all. That's why we called it like the warehouse and all this other stuff, right? No, trust me. That's both the problem and also the awesomeness of the company, right? Which is like we try things, we try things fast, and if it doesn't work, we'll change it. But then the problem is, if you had already built a process that was built on a particular name or a particular concept, in some cases, 2 years later, it did change. That sucks. But the end goal is if you're using serverless now, all of a sudden you don't have to do a whole bunch of configurations you had to do in the past.
Yeah.
Isn't that better? Yeah. It's also cheaper. It's also faster. So yeah, like that's literally the feedback we got from our customers and community that they wanted to go. They thought the way we did in the past was not so good because it was maybe a little bit more expensive because you had to be an expert on compute or because you had to do all these extra configurations. And now we're like, nope, don't need a configure or a lot less configurations. And guess what? With serverless, we can figure this out for you. Not a big deal. Bam. So yeah, that helps out a lot, but then it's a shift in paradigm again,
Yeah.
right? So yeah.
Yeah. So overall, you have you're balancing right between saying, hey, we know some our customers don't like something, so we're just gonna let it be like that for a long time just because that's what we've done. You don't want to do that. You want to say, well, we've released this feature. Customers think it could be better. Instead of telling customer tough luck, you're stuck with it. We're actually gonna try to improve it so that perhaps new customers, or if you're one of those customers that was struggling with it, you can actually use this newer, hopefully better
Right,
solution.
right. And then by the same token, we keep LTS versions specifically because if you've got processes built within the older system and then they're going to run in production and you can't afford for whatever reason, all valid, right? You can't afford the migration, the processes are pre-built, there's a governance, whatever. right? We have the LTS version specifically so that way, no, you can still tie it to that and you're still hunky dory running with that. And then you have time to do that migration, time to make that change into the new thing, right? And hopefully the new thing is so good, makes things easier for you, makes things more efficient, that you're going to want to make that change anyways. But again, that'll be up to you. It's not like we're not trying to force you to use the latest thing. But by the same token, we're certainly not going to try to force you to use the old thing either.